Welcome to Your Town. I'm your culinary host, Chef Wendy Brody with Art of Food. And my guest today is Graydon Morley, President and CEO of Premier Events. Welcome, Graydon.
Thank you.
Anyway, I thought it would be so interesting for our guests to understand what a business like Premier Events is all about. Chefs have the pleasure, and of course many other types of people you deal with a business like Premier Events. But I think it would be fabulous for you to explain what it's all about for our general public, because many could use this business besides other businesses.
Well, thank you for having me. Premier Events is an event management company. We work exclusively with corporations. So we have been providing destination services here on the Monterey Peninsula for almost 30 years. Next year will be our 30-year anniversary. So we do sales meetings, sales incentives, board of director meetings, and we do different types of special events. So a corporate special event could be anything from a Christmas party to a product launch, things of that nature. So Premier Events is exclusively a corporate event management company.
Well, so if I were a corporation, I'd get to use you, but we go back many years. I don't know whether it could be closer to 15 now, and I've had the pleasure of doing cooking classes for some of your clients, and so that's been a lot of fun. But in reading over your past information, I didn't realize that there was sort of an entertainment degree to a Bachelor of Arts, and you're a local boy, UC Santa Cruz. That was wonderful to know about. So have you been in this area?
Pretty long time. And that was the beauty of UC Santa Cruz when I was going there in the early 70s. They had an independent study major, so I actually created my own major in entertainment production and direction. I love the arts. I did a lot of community theater. I got the UC theater involved with the community theater. I was involved in dance, modern dance, ballet. So I had this affection for the arts, and being able to graduate with a Bachelor of Arts degree in entertainment production and direction was really kind of special, because that's what it says on the degree. So, okay, now I get to take that degree and actually apply it to my real life. And I did a stretch in Los Angeles where I completed law school. During law school, I got involved with doing alumni events, and I was also doing student bar association events. And so I kind of got started in law school.
Well, I would think a law degree would be very applicable to events. I mean, there are so many things that apply to putting on an event, getting people flown in and making sure they get on the plane, and the transportation.
Liability
Yes.
and exposure to risk is something that comes up in the event industry often. So having a legal background does come in very handy, and I knew that going into law school. I knew I really didn't want to practice law. I knew I really didn't want to live in Los Angeles, and by the time I was finishing law school, I had a friend here in Monterey that was booking entertainment for the local hotels. So we just got to talking, and he said, well, why don't we do this total event management business, and we'll incorporate the entertainment and transportation and tours and recreational activities. So it just was an idea that grew.
And that started, you're in your 30th year this year?
30 years. In 2018 will be our 30th year.
Oh my goodness. Oh
Yeah.
gosh. Well, I hope we get to do some fun
30
things
more
together.
years. Yeah.
But well, we know how your education applied to this. I'm so surprised that all your theater work, and here you are in Los Angeles.
Right.
I'm surprised you didn't get discovered, but you're helping others discover their full potential with the events management. So when you ask or talk about the importance of the business, can you go into that a little bit as to what you were thinking about when?
Well, what I consider one of the most important aspects of event management is having a vendor network that is top-notch. You know, knowing people like Wendy Brody, knowing your best transportation companies, knowing the best people that are in the business that you can call on to actually facilitate your events is what makes your event business successful. It's really that vendor network, I would say, is number one in terms of making the business successful.
If I were a client and I want to come to the Monterey Peninsula, how would you start with me? How would you create an event? I want to be here for 3 days, and I've got 20 people. How would you lead me through the creation of an event for my company?
You know, sometimes clients will call and they will already have their group booked at a particular hotel or resort here on the peninsula, and we have so many great properties to go to. Sometimes we do get involved in doing a site search for the client, where we'll suggest different hotel properties they might consider. So once the hotel is booked and they have their dates, we just have a kind of a back and forth on what their group is like, what they want to accomplish in their meeting during their stay here. Would they like to get out and do some tours, some recreational activities after their meetings, if they're having meetings in the morning? So we have so many great things to do on the peninsula. We have great wines, and we're right here on the Monterey Bay, so the water activities are fantastic. So I'll just kind of go through all those options with the client and listen to what they want to accomplish. And, you know, we'll put together a program over the course of 3 days. Maybe they only have free time on one of those days. It depends on how intensive their meeting schedule is. And so we'll just try to put together some leisure time that's just really lots of fun, and they get out and see the wonderful area we live in.
Sometimes when you live in an area, and I've been here now since the 70s, it's being on an event or part of an event that I get to learn what else is out there, because I must have blinders on or so used to. What are some of the fun events besides a cooking class, or maybe there's a wine blending at a winery or wine tasting? What are some of the other fun things to do that us locals should try and do?
Well, you know, that's kind of the wonderful thing about this business is I need to go out and discover all of those great things. And being in the business for so many years, you're constantly looking for new and wonderful things. But certainly the Monterey area, I think it was 2013, Wine Spectator came out and said that Monterey, Carmel Valley was one of the top 10 wine destinations. So we're always trying to put together wine blending, wine pairing, going out to the vineyards. So wine is very big. Wine is wonderful. Also, being on a marine sanctuary, it's really great to get out on the water and take a group out sailing. And we have one program called a Team Challenge Sailing, where we'll break up the group into onto different sailboats, and they'll learn how to sail, and then they'll have this kind of competitive regatta little sailing race on the bay.
No, I never knew that existed.
That's a great activity. And then, horseback riding on the beach.
Oh, of course.
It's just so wonderful because Monterey Bay is so beautiful. And we have just so many wonderful things. Carmel Village with its shops and its galleries,
the
walking
art
tours.
galleries, yes.
Just doing walking tours of Carmel. I mean, there's just the shopping in Carmel is fantastic. There's just always great things to do. And if the group is here for the first time, that's kind of an easy, kind of a no-brainer as to how many things you could suggest for them to do. But we have groups that have been coming back for 10, 20 years, so we're constantly looking for new things.
I'm doing a cooking class for a company that has been coming out here for 30 years as well, and they're always looking for something new, but they decided they still like cooking classes.
Yes.
So they want a twist on Thanksgiving.
That's right.
What could be new and different for Thanksgiving? So I'm kind of racking my brain to think, gosh, other than tradition, how can I mean, with the molecular cooking and a lot of the new things chefs are doing, that would be fun.
Yeah, we've had that same challenge. When the group is coming back 10 and 20 years at a time, you kind of come back to those most favorite things. Certainly going down to Big Sur is my favorite, and such a shame that the roads are out and all of
But
that
it's gonna
weather
come
related.
back.
It's going to come
Yeah,
back
it's
big
gonna
time.
come back.
But getting down to Big Sur, Point Lobos, there's those really favorite things that even though they've been coming out for years and years, they always want to go back. They always want to do that cooking class again. They always want to go down to Big Sur again. It's just a very special place.
Now, for the nitty-gritty tell-all, since you're not mentioning any names, what have been fabulous and different events that you've had to put together, something that's so unusual?
Well, you mentioned like a 3-day program, so it's always fun to put together a 3-day program where you will have tours and activities going on one day, and then maybe you'll do this fabulous gala type dinner on their final night. And it's always fun for me because of my background with art and entertainment to put on a big gala evening that incorporates actors and characters walking around the room, and then you have some big name entertainment. We've done Huey Lewis down here. We've done Journey. So to put together a 3-day program that encompasses not only what the Monterey Peninsula has to offer in terms of just the beauty of the area, but top it off with a gala event that you get to put all of your creativity in and come up with the great entertainment and the great decor and the great food and put that all together and kind of tops it all off. And then, you know, the gratification is immediate because you get to see how happy
Yes.
the attendees, the guests are, and your client is just loving you.
Of course, that's the greatest reward for a chef too.
Absolutely.
But the culmination, and these things take usually months to put together.
Absolutely.
Put together, and sometimes you're working a year or two out with certain
Absolutely,
clients.
yes. I've definitely worked a year out on some of these larger programs.
Well, now the other thing. What can go wrong, and how have you had to pull a rabbit out of a hat? Let's say you have an outdoor event and the weather didn't cooperate. What are some of those sorts of...
I haven't had a weather-related problem, but I would say the most embarrassing thing was the porta potties. Now, we had a big event out at the Monterey Jet Center. We brought in those beautiful executive porta potties, which are, you know, big long trailers, and, you know, everything is very
They
nice.
are so
Oh,
impressive.
they're very impressive.
Makes you want to have to go during the evening.
But the ladies' room, no, it wasn't the ladies' room, it was the men's room, stopped functioning. And we had to scramble to try to fix that, but here it is. These people are all dressed up for their gala evening at the Monterey Jet Center, and I mean, it worked out okay. At least it was the men's, and the men's were able to go across to this field across the street, and but that was, I would say, in recent memory, that was definitely the most embarrassing. So. If you're an event planner, don't take for granted those executive porta potties are going to work without a hitch.
Oh, goodness.
And then transportation. You know, we always are involved in transportation, and that's another thing that that can go wrong in terms of mechanical breakdowns, or you might get a driver that gets lost. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong with transportation, so you're on top of it all the time.
On that note, it's been such a pleasure to have you, Graydon.
It's been my pleasure.
And I am remembering one event, not yours, where this beautiful new bus broke down and we had to wait for a new bus to come. Fortunately, people like yourself, they made it so pleasurable, the breakdown, that we didn't care. There was champagne on the bus and we were taken care of so beautifully. But anyway, it's a thrill to have you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.